Pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Regina Thunder, enjoying his winter vacation from the annual grind, Scott MacAulay. Scott, thanks for coming on the program. I was going to ask you, are you a big NFL fan? Do you watch a lot of NFL after your season's done, or do you get footballed out by that point?
So I do watch a lot of NFL, but it's more like in and out from naps after the season's ended. So, I like to think I know what's going on, but if we start talking NFL, you probably would lose me pretty quick. But if we talk to X's and O's, I'd be with you.
Well, you'd lose me on either count because I don't know a damn thing about X's and O's. And with all the CFL stuff and traveling around with the Rams and following you guys, I get footballed out too. I was just going to say I don't feel like I even recognize the NFL anymore, and maybe that's a good thing. Probably had too much of it earlier. Wanted to talk to you about off-season update. We don't usually check in a whole bunch this time of year, and I know it's a little more quiet. But just before Christmas, I talked to Mark McConkey with the Rams, who's a pretty busy guy running around. I suspect you are too. What are your off-season recruiting efforts like for you? How much time are you having to put into it?
I mean, it's the recruiting game has really changed, to be honest. I remember back in the day when I worked for the guy that's on your T-shirt there. A lot of times with the Rams back in the day, you didn't really go recruiting until you went to Senior Bowl, which was like in May. And then, as things kind of progressed, guys were kind of recruiting maybe more in the new year in January, February. I remember then the University of Alberta Golden Bears came out also, and they were committing to guys like in August, and I caught everybody off guard. And then now the things changed where you almost got to be like a year ahead. And that's what we're kind of preparing for right now, as much as we're already closing down the recruiting class for this year. We're already starting to focus on the 2027s and get to know who they are. Times have changed. I believe strongly in the whole, the process of going to camps and trying out, and, us getting to see if guys are, full of grit and able to push themselves and good teammates and all that kind of stuff. But things have changed now where, you got to go watch them at all the different camps, say SAS Selects or, the different Team Saskatchewan trials, or have your own camps. And then you got to rely on, their high school coaches or, friends kind of calling on them to see a little bit more about their character and see if they're the right fit or not. So times have changed, and we've had to adapt as well. And it's been super busy. The season ended. Just want to take some time off, get caught up with work. All the coaches on my staff are volunteers. Nobody gets paid, not even our team president or equipment manager or myself. We're all volunteers, and you got to hit the road and get caught up with work, but at the same time you still have to get out there and keep on recruiting. And I'm extremely happy with the recruiting class that we have right now.
Is there a deadline by which players have to commit to a certain program if they're going to play in 2026?
No. I think that's one of the things, with a lot of the U Sport teams having guys commit so early. I know a lot of the junior programs are trying to get guys commit early too. But at the end of the day, you can't really sign officially with anybody in our league until I think you're allowed to sign 10 guys or whatever after January 15th, and then you can sign everybody else after June 1st. So technically guys don't need to verbally commit to anybody until down the road. But again, times have changed, and guys, start to get a little excited and they want to commit right away. And I've always enjoyed our indoor camps, getting guys out there, seeing them ball, see who's who in the zoo, see them compete. And again, those days are kind of done now. You got to get ahead of the game and commit to them early. And I mean, at the end of the day, you want to get that verbal commitment. And if you can't shake a person's hand and look him in the eye and then commit to you and you commit back, then we don't want them anyways.
I understand that there's some players who you will not have in the fall who are moving to BC. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's more than guys just moving to BC. I mean, every year, we're trying to graduate 12 to 15 guys a year, and we've been successful at that. And, I think that's been one of the keys that why we've been successful and in the PC championship game, the last 5 years is because we have graduated 12 to 15 guys. And then every year, some guys are graduating from university and they want to move on with their careers. Some guys maybe want to move on to U Sports, and that's kind of part of the norm. But, one of the things that's happened to us is our roster's gotten fairly big, really big, to be honest. And COVID was actually good for us. We, you get all the stuff to help clean the clubhouse up and stuff. Now you can keep a few more bodies in there. But, there's some guys that, weren't as happy with maybe their playing time. and they wanted to have the opportunity to play for a different team and see if they're able to play there. And then also, like one of our coaches, Chris Ashman, who's also moved on out to BC to VI. Where he moved there, and because of that, then also his sons are going to want to move there, and some of their friends as well. So we have lost, I think, 2 or 3 guys so far to VI with guys who are currently like on our team. But at the end of the day, next guy's up, and we do have a big roster, and we have a bunch of guys that we do believe in as well.
When you say VI, you're referring to Vancouver Island Raiders, I think?
Yeah. It's okay. Andrew Harris, the right back coach for the Riders. I think he's the general manager for the VI Raiders. And so the team where he came from and started his CFL career is the team that some of these players are going out to, and that's the team that Chris Ashman. So I've known Chris since elementary school. We were friends way back in the day, and we went to high school together and played high school football together and got into a lot of trouble together. And then we also went to university and both played on the Rams together and went to university together. And we both ended up having twins around the same time back in 2006. And so I've seen him through, all the minor football and all that kind of stuff. So, it's been a great 3 years having the opportunity to coach with that guy on the Regina Thunder, but I know that he's always wanted to be an offense coordinator, and he never had that opportunity with the Miller Marauders or Team Saskatchewan, and unfortunately not with us either. So, VI proposed that opportunity for him, and he took it, and so we're wishing him nothing but the best. And also, he's got a son, Jackson Ashman, that we wish would have stayed. He's a hell of a football player, but at the end of the day, he told me that he plans to go use sports next year, and this is probably one of the only times in his life that he's going to be able to move away from home and experience other parts of the country.
It sounds to me like this is really just kind of an isolated one-off, and it's not, before we had this conversation, I was kind of wondering if this was going in a direction of, I used to cover a lot of junior hockey, like a million years ago, and I remember the SJHL was looking for a commissioner when Wayne Cartouche retired, and the commissioner of the BCHL applied. He wanted to come to Saskatchewan, and people were like, why would you want to come here? Wouldn't that just be a lateral move? And he said, you don't understand. BC's a different world. It's like the wild, wild west out there. And, in the BCHL, you have like these community-owned teams, and you have these other teams that have owners who have gobs of cash, and this is their toy, and they often would raid the Saskatchewan teams to pull players. I just felt like BC was, sports-wise, just a different kind of place, kind of like they say Florida's a different kind of place down in the States for bigger reasons than that. But it sounds from what you're telling me, that's not what's happening here. This is more just an isolated one-off, really.
Yeah, I hope so. But I mean, at the end of the day, when you have bigger rosters and guys want to play, they might be looking for other opportunities. We're hoping that we do a good enough job as coaches and as an organization in treating our players that they're going to want to stay. And hopefully, this is kind of like a one-off. But I mean, we've had guys as well that have played for us in the past and moved on to other junior teams. It's just never really been that big of a deal. And this year, also, with some of the guys getting a little bit more hype. Being interviewed and stuff in different channels that, it's a little bit more known or whatever. But again, it's no different. But, for myself, I'm passionate about the Regina Thunder, and that's what I care about the most. And, I want to make sure that we do our best to continue to support our athletes and try to keep them around as much as we possibly can. And hopefully we create that culture, which I think we have, and continue to do to ensure that guys want to stick around. And I mean, at the end of the day, we do have a certain way that we do things, and some guys fit that mold and some guys don't, and it's their decisions if they want to stay or not. And like you just said, I feel strongly that it's going to be kind of like a one-off, but you never know. Like maybe the times are changing. I know there's a lot of players in Regina that we didn't really have the opportunity to talk to during our playoff run there because we were winning games that committed to some of the junior teams out west pretty early, right? Which is good for them, fantastic. We have the guys that we already kind of really wanted, and even looking at our roster, like right now, like we're already at, 87 guys, so I maybe have 5 spots left. So, the guys that we got on our team, we're really happy with the recruits that we got, great athletes, and they're going to fit the mold. There's a book called Grit that was written by Angela Duckworth that we're reading right now, and it's funny, the first chapter really painted a huge picture of like what we're all about and what we're trying to accomplish and really who sticks around. And And I thought it was kind of it was a little bit of a blessing to start reading that book with our team here last week, and it really resonated with myself.
This is a time of year where you actually have time to do that, so that's great. Is there an area on your squad on paper that you would say, wow, we're really loaded here, we're really rock solid, and is there another area that you think you still need to shore up a little bit before you break for training camp in August?
Yeah, so I'd say like strength-wise, like I automatically look at our defensive line. Like last year, we had a lot of injuries, and we had a lot of guys that were in their third or fourth year that unfortunately were injured, and that group was still very solid throughout the season. Well, now those guys have had a chance to bounce back from their surgeries and do their rehab and get into the weight room, and they're all coming back. So I feel strongly that our defensive line is going to be a real area of strength for the team. Also, even at quarterback, like last year we had Mosher, who was in year 4, now going to year 5, and then we had James Solanka, who is a rookie out of high school that's now going to be going to his second year of junior football. Both those guys are back at the quarterback spot, and just from having another year of football being underneath kind of Gus way, I think they're going to do a great job. And even our receivers, like I look at them this year as being a big time strength for us, and hopefully we're going to throw the rock a little bit more. Some areas that we need to shore up, like, I automatically think about our offensive line. I mean, we lost 4 out of 5 starters, but at the same time, it was somewhat part of like the plan of action here. We're still looking to bring in maybe 1, maybe 2 veteran sort of type of guys that had playing experience, but we really wanted to make sure that our young guys, such as like Parker Robertson, Ben Rotherdale, and even like first year guys like last year, like Logan Leeson and Zdunich out of Canaston via Davidson, their football program, like those guys are going to be able to step and play right away. So, I think that's going to be an area of growth that they're going to need to grow right away, but we bought them another year of lifting weights. And so like hopefully Dan Farthing and Dan Yaskiewicz at level 10, and they're doing their job of getting them a little bit stronger and faster and bigger and meaner. And I think they're going to do a hell of a job. And I think guys, they're going to step up and do a great job. And they're going to work with Tristan Rapchuk, who's also returning for his 3rd season. And he was a PFC All-Star last year.
Well, I mean, I'm excited already about the squad you have coming back in the fall. And I know that the last 2 falls, like October, November, have felt like 2 of the best football falls in Saskatchewan, just with the Rough Riders doing so well, the Rams, and I know your Thunder are a huge part of that. So we're excited for that. Thanks for giving some time to us here today. And I know we'll talk again before the season gets going in the late summer.
Well, we look forward to it, and thanks for supporting amateur football in Saskatchewan, and especially the junior guys. We appreciate it.